My name is Tanya Curry, and this is this week's Acumen Media Report. It's entitled South Africa, the Suicide Squad. Every day, every news channel carried a major suicide or an untimely death. Back in the awful time of apartheid, we heard stories of how people slipped on a bar of soap, fell off a building, and other stories we knew were just not true. And here we go again. This country is divided, this time not based on race, but on class, and anyone who questions it suddenly dies. Great opening to the weekly report. I'm going to seat myself in satire, so scratch the surface with me on a scary and sensational week in the media. Cholera. More water testing than John can hop, skip, jump, or throw a hissy fit at a plane took place this week. Basically, don't drink it. Anywhere in South Africa. Well, except for beautiful Sodwana, where the water from the ground tastes like honey. As for the rest, buy Bon Aqua, not Valpre, because if you remember, that's just tap water. I say buy bottled water, but if you listen to the president, you should boil the tap water in Hammanskraal. He forgot a small thing. Hammanskraal is without electricity most of the time, and boiling anything is a luxury that most can't afford. Cyril, the squirrel, might as well have said, let them eat cake. Out of touch and insulting. He also went on to say that 4 billion rand is needed to fix our water. It was at that time that Edwin Soddy woke up. He was the guy who had all three companies who tended to fix this issue in the first place. He should be in jail in Siberia, not in a Burberry. But that's all about the threads, isn't it, good people? Remember how I told you to ignore Thabo Bester case because it was a load of sensationalist rubbish? Well, I was wrong, because the chief investigator went to his car and shot himself in the head. That's a pretty serious story right there. Who is Thabo Bester Eintlik? Look, I would drive myself crazy if I had to try and unravel what the real story is here. So much cloak and dagger, and now people are dying. There's something big here, something huge. Do you think Tefo knows? Because I'm at this point where I'm willing to listen to any theory. Thabo Bester. The media are using the tagline, best escape, when they talk about this story. I think some ponytail thought of that, and they thought it was cute, but people are dead, and the look in Bester's eyes is numb, and these quirky headlines are dumb and threadbare. Last week after this report, we saw headlines break with leaks from Madam Busi Makwebane, the public neglector. Her husband, David, has texts which implicate Penny Mujadina Diante and Tina Jabat Peterson, of all of attempting a bribe for the PP. This broke on Sunday, and by Tuesday, Peterson was dead. They haven't told us how she died, but because that is so secretive, we all suspect suicide. I watched Nomvula Mokonyane give a heartfelt speech on how we must give the family privacy, and she even had a tear or two to shed. I was struck by how beautifully she spoke, and I even thought that there might be something here. But then I remembered who Nomvula is. She's the same woman who was in charge of our water and sanitation and is likely to be singled out as the person who started the collapse of our water supply. She also, and this is true, said she would defend Zuma with her backside. Not sure how, and the image is frightening, but that's how much she had faith in him. I digress. Nomvula told us that there would be a hanging of the blouse ceremony for Tina. I've never heard of that before, so I Googled hanging blouse ceremony, and all I found was an array of tops on offer at Woolies. Maybe I'm out of touch, but if I die, please don't hang a blouse on a tree for me. Give it to someone who needs it. I was scratching my head trying to find room for all these headlines being forced into my brain, and then I saw the only story that actually holds water. Not clean water, mind, but holds water nonetheless. Putin. I saw something I thought I'd never seen. I saw Alta asking what was on Lady R, the ship that was meant to transport weapons for Russia. I didn't expect it, because Alta always focus their efforts at grassroots level. They actually resurrect municipalities to the point that they are functional, and in certain areas, their efforts are so admirable that the water is drinkable. Yet here they are, meddling in a story that's far too big for South Africa, let alone civil society. Ask the average citizen if he cares about Putin and Lady Ra. The answer is the average citizen wants electricity and drinking water. A bit of food would be good too. Russia is out of our league. I was reassured by Kgalema Motlanthe when he said that Putin was not going to come to South Africa. He failed to add that we've suffered enough, and we are already Russia and China's puppet. BRICS, the clue is in the name. Don't act like food, and you won't be food. Step back from the great white shark called Mother Russia and let Biden paddle his way through this rough sea. As for civil society, feed and clothe our children. We need help, not headlines. Then it turned out that Dali Mpofu was a big girl's blouse and lost the Zuma case against Morn and Downer. Maybe Dali is a good oak after all. I've been giving him a hard time for too long. He's actually making sure that the crooks lose and he drains their bank accounts at the same time. He's not a bad advocate. He actually might be a superhero in a cloak. Don't fear, though, an appeal is near. Captain Mpofu. I've lost it, haven't I? Well, it was bound to happen. I read the news, so you don't have to. Words are few now, so I'm going to rattle them off like a snake in a box. Shake this box and you'll find your anger. Fort Hare's violent protest resulted in 13 kids standing in front of a judge armed with legal aid and not petrol this time. They cried, wailed, one report said. Regardless, this is madness. There is a taxi war against e-hailing services that brought Mapunya Mall to a violent standstill. And here's one story that should be our top story, but we are too busy with Russia and Tabu. Hold your breath, because this is going to hurt, my dear South Africans. Over the past 3 years, 800 babies have died at Tembisa Hospital. 800 small, tiny souls that were ours to care for. Nothing has happened. It's just a sick statistic. And we're still worried about Lady R. Come on, civil society. There's so much work for us. Look, I can tell you that Herman High Horse Mashaba got grilled by Matt G about his biography, or that Gayton has been running around trying to remove foreigners. I could tell you that Tuli Madonsela got scammed on WhatsApp and that Woolies were under fire for both Pride and for the fake news ban on Muslims. I could also tell you that Chief Crook with a whip, Manye, joined the EFF, or I could mention that the Joburg mayor was rushed to hospital and somehow that was Gordon's fault. Or that Putin caused a humanitarian disaster by destroying a dam in Ukraine, this turned by Zelensky as ecocide. But I'd rather tell you that Banyana have made the cut for the Women's Cup. I'm not talking about clothes. Our ladies are due $30,000, and if they win, $270,000. Please win. We need you to win for Zita, your sister, who was doused with petrol and set alight and is now fighting for her life. We all need this win, ladies. Sport is all we have left to unite us. I tried my best to keep this a light-hearted report, but the truth is, guys, there's nothing light-hearted this side of the pond. If you want to giggle or just to smile, check out Kanye or Ye's wife's outfit at a church ceremony this week. She looked like a human microphone. What is wrong with this lot? Money can make you crazy, eh? And if you really want to laugh, check out the most watched documentary in history, What is a Woman?
What is a woman?
Women only know what women are.
Are you a cat?
No.
Can you tell me what a cat is? You want to tell us what a woman is?
With 170 million views, this carries all the stuff a good docu should. You'll laugh, your jaw will drop, you'll be horrified, and then when you're done, you'll grab the closest person on the street and ask them, what is a woman? I was lucky enough to ask Bruce Whitfield this question, and his response left me laughing for hours. I'm Tanya Curry. You've scratched the surface of a pretty hectic week in the media. To take the weekend off, I have a date with a moray eel, and he told me his name is Willis. So Willis and I are due to have a chat underwater this weekend, and it won't be about Russia.